Hello, and welcome to the Simply Business Interview Podcast, a podcast created by business owners for business owners. I am your host, John Jennings. And I believe that most business owners are working way too hard for much too little. And one of our issues is that we overcomplexify things. I believe the answers are almost always within us or within our reach. I like to say that I'm a simple man with simple ideas. So welcome to Simply Business. Well, hello. Today I am joined by Jeremy Esposito. He is one of the owners of Esposito Construction, and they're well-respected third generation home builders and construction company here in Louisville and Oldham County. Jeremy, welcome to the program. Why don't you take a moment, just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, John. So we are a third generation home building and remodeling full service construction company on the residential side. We're based out of Oldham County, although I'd say only about half of our work is here. We do a lot in Eastern Jefferson County. We are a full service company where we do everything from new construction to small bathroom models all the way up to whole house renovations. So we are coming up on our, it's 2020. We're coming up on our, sounds crazy, our 50th year as far as the iteration of this company. So my father and uncle moved down in 75 and started the business from New York, where they were contractors up there, along with my grandfather. They split in the 90s, and then Dad veered off and kept his construction company, to which about 15 years ago, we ended up purchasing or transitioning from my father to me and my brother. So there's been some iteration of Esposito Construction going on in this area for 50 years this year, actually. So, but we don't, just stand on those laurels. We don't just assume everybody's going to like us because of that. We still got to work hard and keep, your name's on the side of the truck. So you keep doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was just talking to someone about this the other day. I love people who are willing to put their name on the side of their truck. That shows a personal pride, but also a personal accountability to that. So
that's right.
Love that aspect of what y'all do. And just by living out in Oldham County and built a couple of houses out there, know the reputation you guys have. So proud to have you on the program and to share more about what it's been like. So 15 years ago, you take the plunge, stepping into the leadership, the ownership role. You had, I guess, been working in the business for your dad prior to that, right?
Yeah, so through high school, even some in middle school, we went out and helped clear lots. Through high school, I used to work summers. Ended up going to college down in Alabama. During that time, I'd come back and work in the summers until later in my college career, and I stuck down there and started interning. I was actually in for radio, TV broadcast. I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be behind the camera. I ended up becoming an editor and a news photographer with a Fox affiliate down there. During that time, I was kind of away from the construction industry for a couple of years. Lived down there until a year after my college graduation. I decided I wanted to move closer to home and find a job here doing what I was doing. Came back, of course, family job's always open. So I started doing that on my 8 to 4, 9 to 5, but in construction, it's like 7:30 to 4, so doing that, bartending at night, and looking for a job up here in TV news, and started to realize the upside to this job. I never wanted to be in construction. It wasn't something that I really desired for, but the more as an adult, quote unquote adult in your 20s, I start realizing that staying in TV news, you have to market jump. You have to go from 70th market and then you find a job in the 50th market. Right. And you're kind of always trying to climb, and you're moving all the time. At that time, I had met my wife now. She was just a girlfriend. And I was also working more and more with dad, not necessarily on the grunt side of things, but starting to manage a little bit. And I realized that construction has a lot, it checks a lot of boxes for me. I'm a creative person. I like creativity. I enjoy people, which these are all things I got from, doing a news story every day. We'd go out and
Sure.
get assigned a reporter. You have a reporter and photographer. You go out every day. 8 o'clock. You go out and you have to write a story, and you have to have it in by 4 o'clock, and it's on regardless. So you
Yeah.
go out, you create a story, you'd edit it, you'd shoot it, get it back, you'd create it, and then at the end of the day, you'd have something. So I love the creative side of that. I love dealing with people, but I started finding a more nuanced passion for business at that point.
Yeah.
So I decided, maybe this is the thing I want to do. Um,
Yeah.
and that was the early aughts. So, I came back to Louisville around 2001, kind of made the plunge into the family, the dedication probably 2003, 4, or 5. And yeah, then the rest is history. I
Yeah.
got married in '06 and kind of continued with my brother and my dad for the next several years until around 2015, Aaron and I started transitioning from, we were small owners, but to majority owners of the
Right.
company. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you and your brother kind of complement each other? Are y'all different? I'm wired completely different from my brother, and I know a lot of siblings are. So, are you kind
That's
of
a really
well?
good question. We are wired similar, but very different. It's funny you ask. It's a joke around the office. He's a little bit of the task map. How do I put it politely? He's more on edge than I am typically. He's got an intensity where he's always driving at stuff, and I'm more of a laid back personality. But we complement each other well because if there's something that I'm not really pushing on, he's going to help me push against a sub or a client or something. Whereas I'd be more apt to just let something go, if that's a good way to put it. And he makes me drive forward, but I also probably compliment him and I soften him a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's it creates some really fireworks. Just some mornings are really exciting around here. We've got a couple other project managers that work with us and a couple of guys that run around and do cleanup and light framing and stuff, a couple of construction crews. So we don't see eye to eye on everything, but it forces the both of us to kind of concede a little bit either way.
Yeah.
No, but it's great. He's good for me, and hopefully I'm good for him.
Yeah. Sounds like it. And I hear that scenario most of the time when I work with, especially siblings. There's usually that dichotomy and a little bit of pushing each other, a little bit of rubbing each other, but that
Oh, there's
it's also how
definitely
you grow.
that's right. Iron sharpens iron, and you don't without as the Stoics say, the obstacle is the way, and he can be the obstacle to me, and vice versa to him. Um, he's no, he's great. He's my big brother too, And
Yeah.
the thing is, I think if you've got siblings, you've grown up with this person. There's no
Yeah.
holding back. Like everything about each other. So
Right.
you get in an argument with somebody that you might have known for 5 years as a business partner. Um, I think there's more thought given to perception than there is if it's just a sibling. Like you're not going to not say something.
Yeah.
There's no feelings that you're worried about getting hurt, I guess, as they say.
Right.
So,
You're still going to be seeing each other at the family dinners and such.
oh yeah,
So
that's right. That's right.
so you have to learn to work through things.
That's
Uh,
that's exactly right. And not a lot of family businesses do. I mean, it's
yeah.
hard. You probably see it on
Yeah.
your end.
Yeah.
It can be hard, but the more that you trudge through, the higher you get on the mountain. Like the harder the times are, once you get on the other side of it, it just solidifies that
Yeah.
relationship. So,
Yeah, I've got one client that's sisters, and they get together every Sunday. The whole family gets together for Sunday lunch kind of thing, and they finally had to put a rule down: no business talk. At,
it,
you have to like put up a wall, and this is family time only, and we can't get into business in those times.
you have to silo those things. You
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, yeah. I try and do it with at home. My wife gets annoyed because I don't ever talk about work.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still on my phone and texting people, but I don't want to bring that into the home stuff. So
Yeah. So you become the business owners 10 years ago now, and you've in with your brother. What are some of the challenges y'all face in those early years? What were some of the things you had to kind of overcome and figure out?
um well, we had a downturn. We had a
Yeah.
huge housing downturn. That was
Right.
2018, 19, that whole financial crisis really put us upside down. Um, we've had that. Um, you know, um, it's something different every few years, right?
Yeah.
Financial crisis was tough. We had a couple of specs sitting out there in Longwood. I don't know if you know where that is. It's in Goshen, and there
Mm.
were some
Yeah.
high-end properties that we got to sit on. And the banks always, the banks are, not always nice in those kind of situations where they go, "Oh, well, I know you're not making any money right now, but these properties you had that you can't get sold and that you're making a note on, by the way, they're valued 25% less. So now we're going to need 25% of the value of that house on both of them. Can you please write us a check for $337,000? It's
Yeah.
those kinds of things, were tough. I think, the family stuff we talk about, it's always, you've got a different opinion than a brother. That can be kind of, some mornings are tough, but I'll tell you, labor has been hard for us, trying to find good labor and
Yeah.
good subs. We've been lucky that we've been around for a very long time. And as my dad said, we've kissed a lot of frogs. We've worked through a lot of the companies, and the few that we've had for a long time are still really, they're great companies, and we're lucky to have them. And hopefully they feel the same way about that relationship with us.
Yeah. I,
Um,
I found that good construction companies have really good long-term sub relationships,
they
and,
do.
that sets them apart.
What's funny is our really savvy people understand that. You get a lot of people that think they're smart, and they're bottom dollar people.
Yeah.
And the way we do business is we're completely transparent. We show everybody the books, how their job is going to be run, where the line items are, the cost of everything, and they see our margin. It's our transparency is one of the big things that we show. Or
Mm.
like it's one of our tenets, right? We want
Yeah.
you to understand where money goes, and so you can make good decisions. Sometimes they'll have us price stuff out from 3 or 4 different subs. And I said, I really only do these 2 subs. We've used this plumber for 25 years. We'll price it against them. But, a 10% or 5% difference in price does not equal a 5 or 10% equal in service.
Right.
And it's hard to explain that to somebody unless they've been burned on the other side.
Yeah.
Um, but, it's, and the other value is when you have a sub, let's say our plumber, he's used to working with our other subs. So when
Right.
there's an issue at the shower with the tile man, the plumber and the tile guy can come up with a solution together
Yeah. They know each
versus
other.
butting heads or some a prideful thing when these
Yeah.
subs don't know each other. It's like, well, it wasn't my problem. And the tile guy's like, well, it was not my problem. And instead of that, you've got a more symbiotic, holistic group that everybody kind of works together. So, and that's
Yeah.
part of the dynamic too, bringing up subcontractors that work with each other. I talk about it builders with clients all the time. You'd have 3 builders that are equally qualified. And this is with any job, probably. They can be equally qualified, but if one's, pardon my French, an asshole, it's going to be a terrible, terrible
Yeah.
job. If one is mediocre, but he's really good to get along with, it's going to be a much better and much different process.
Yeah.
You might even get a better product. So chemistry is really huge between subs and builders. Chemistry is huge in anything, really.
Yeah.
But growth mindset and attitude is such an important
Yeah.
thing in all
But-
aspects of life.
So you mentioned the kind of the evolution, constant change in the industry.
Yes.
We've seen downturns. It felt like there for a few years there wasn't a new house built anywhere in the area. I'm sure you built some, but there weren't a lot.
Well,
Now
there
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 seems like,
weren't. Yeah,
yeah,
NAHB talks about we're several 100,000 units shy nationally.
yeah,
We had that's what they call the phantom demand. So, 1819 hit, wasn't a house built. Builders stopped completely.
yeah.
A lot of my dad's contemporaries just got out of business. They
Yeah,
just
that's what I was about to. That's actually where I was one because I saw a lot of smaller builders, others that just kind of closed up shop during that period.
they're in their late 50s, early 60s. They were like, this is a stressful job, right?
Yeah,
This is not, I'm not saying that most jobs aren't. This is definitely, you're dealing with clients with expectations. You're dealing with, Hispanic workers that may or may not, understand what you're saying. You're dealing with
yeah,
other guys that may or may not show up, and you're trying to put all this stuff together. It's a tough job. So, if I were in my late 50s, early 60s, and we had a downturn like we had, a once in a lifetime downturn like that, I might cash my chips in. And
yeah,
so that ends up happening. You get all those guys quit. Then for the next several years, there's zero interest in trades and building because nobody's going to make any money. And all
yeah.
kids think about, I've got a 17-year-old, is like, how much money am I going to make when I choose
Right.
my job? And I'm like,
Yeah,
it's not about that, Will. Like, it's like I got to explain that to, you don't know what you don't know when you're 17.
yeah,
So you got to really enjoy what you're doing, and the money will come later if you do it well. If you enjoy
yeah,
it, you'll do it well. If you do it well, people will follow you. If people follow you, you'll make money. So,
yeah,
but nobody wanted to get into it. So, the few of us that were like hobbling through as we came through the other side had a lot of opportunity. The problem is when the builders aren't building, we have the largest population bump coming through, and Gen Z, millennials,
yeah,
they're coming through. You look at the population curve, they're going to start needing all this housing. Well, meanwhile,
yeah.
we paused housing for 4 years.
Right. And now they
So
can't afford because of
now they
the
can't afford it.
price is up.
But private equity saw this several years ago, and so that's why you're seeing all these apartments around, and
Yeah,
they are killing it. On top of that, development costs went through the roof. So then that
yeah,
happens. It starts coming through 18, 19, 20, 21. We start kind of getting a handle on it, and we start kind of producing. And again, I'm not a big volume builder. There are volume builders around our area, but we do more custom high end. But this is what I see from the outside looking in on the volume side. Um, then COVID hits. And I mean, that was one of the craziest times for me because we're building houses that are, in the seven to $800,000 range. And by the time we were done, they were over $1 million.
yeah,
And having to have that conversation with a client every month, as we bill, this is over 40%, this is over 30%, lumbers, like it went astronomical. And what we used
yeah.
to have as we get a quote from a lumber company for a lumber package for a whole house. It used to say, and this was just 1819, quote good for 60 days, barring blah, 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 blah. Now we get a 7-day quote. So
Oh my.
so I get a quote on a whole house. It might be $100,000. And at the bottom of the quote and all the disclaimers, it says this quote is good for 7 days. I typically can't even assemble my pricing
Sure.
and give the client in 7 days.
Right.
So it's already out of date. Now, things have slowed down since then, but we had so many people affected by COVID, just the astronomical increases we got from both labor and materials. Um, I've never seen, I mean, forget 18 or forget I'm sorry, it's 2008. I kept saying 15. 2008 was the housing crisis, was the banks, Lehman Brothers and all that when all
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
Even that was not as significant in my world as it was when we started seeing concrete going from $110 a yard to $190 a yard in 3 years, 2 to 3
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So almost double.
Yeah.
So we used to quote people, you'd say, you could build a house, Ball Homes. They used to be able to, their big pride is they could get under $100 a square foot on stuff. we were maybe 140, $150 a square foot. You might be on our nice estate homes, 250 or something like that a square foot. Now I can't build an Oldham County house for less than $350 a square foot.
Oh
And if
my.
you go on the MLS and you just look at listings, they're about there. They're in the mid threes square foot. And so what it does is new construction's expensive. So then you look at the comps of an existing house. And so the market now is a little bit less than new construction, but it's still nuts. It's bringing up, raising the value of those. And so
Right.
they're kind of coming up in tandem. And that's just where we are now. Now kids are making, now wages I think have gone up. They've started to go up a bit, but you know, young kids getting out making 60, 70 grand a year. I don't know what they afford, you know, because
Yeah.
starting housing is 300s.
Yeah.
You might find something. Now you could get out in the boonies a little bit and find some stuff that needs work.
Yeah.
But new construction, it's just it's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. So I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent, but that was probably uh, COVID really affected our world, you know,
Yeah.
as much, if not more, than the housing crisis in 08, 09.
Yeah. Yeah. The astronomical increase in materials, as well as just like you hit on it too,
Availability.
just getting labor is such a challenge right now.
Well, and I left out the part of yes. So that's the astronomical increases in price just on the pricing side of it. But when you have no supply
Yeah. Yeah.
and the largest demographic coming through, population demographic coming through and looking for housing, it's
Yeah.
just a triple threat. You know, NAHB, National Association of Home Builders, has been talking about this for 10 years. They've been
Yeah.
talking about this since, you know, 11, 12, since after that they've realized what was going on. And we're trying to, in the meantime, as a lobby, NAHB, the state of Kentucky, our NKBA, like they are trying to lobby for more affordable housing. But it's really hard because you've got that lobby on the other side of the manufacturers and firefighters. You know, you think of like arc fault, ground fault protection in your breaker box. You know, 10 years ago, your breakers were $28 a breaker. And then they have this legislation. Well, they need to have arc fault protection on certain rooms. So that now those few rooms, couple of bedrooms, now are like a $78 breaker. Now they need to be everywhere. So now you triple the cost of your electric service panel. That's just one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's good to have safe homes. I'm not nobody's advocating not for safe homes, but we start. It's like we haven't. It's always making better. Like we're always trying to think
Yeah.
we're going to do this better, and it really just drives a lot of cost.
Yeah. All those improvements to safety and everything drive the cost up
That's
on the other
right.
side. Yeah.
And the
So
question it's questionable about safety in some of those situations because they're pulling statistics on existing housing from like the 1970s on up. So these house fires, for example, like all of this data is being pulled from house fires, and you look at the data, and 90 something percent of them are in older homes. They're
yeah.
not built with this codes and standards that we have today. So
Right.
it's it's a little bit disingenuous to say, well, there's X amount, you know, we need it for this. We, you know, it's it's complicated,
Yeah.
but it's not sustainable. I don't know how my kids are going to afford a home in 10 years, 15
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. We have two grown kids, and one of them's trying to figure out how to afford one. One of them gotten theirs before COVID, thankfully. Because I don't know if they'd be able to do it today. So uh so interesting. Do you have a crystal ball and kind of what you think the solution is going to be?
Do you think anybody has a crystal ball after the past five
Hey, you're
years or
closer
10
than
years?
me. I'm just
It's crazy, man. Who can these black swans are just like they're supposed to be once in a lifetime thing, and we're getting like three, four of them at a time. It's crazy.
yeah,
I tell you, who knows? You know, the economy pullback is going to happen. Although now people are doubling down on this, you know, this bull run. I don't know where it is. And a lot of our clients, what I have seen over the past 15, 20 years is that people that are making money, a lot of our luxury clients
yeah,
have way more money than they
yeah,
did 10 years ago. the luxury purchases are way over the top now. And
Yeah.
the people at the medium to, maybe entry level or even just what we call move up housing, they're having a harder time.
Right.
We're in a luxury market. We're great. We're blessed to be here. We've worked really hard to get there, but those people are always going to spend money.
Yeah.
Somebody's $20 million in the bank, they don't have a problem with, or more, they don't have a problem with like $1.5 million remodel or addition.
Yeah.
Somebody who's got equity here and a couple $100,000 in savings, they're going to be thinking way more consciously about buying a new home, and that's the other thing. So many people have these low interest rates. There a lot of people aren't moving.
I don't want to give mine up. I know that.
No, that's it. Unless you're forced to, unless you've got to
Yeah.
move for a job, or you definitely want to
Right.
downsize, or you don't want to take care of that much house. The boomers housing right now is crazy because so much of it's paid off, and so many see wealth in their home. Reverse mortgages are becoming more and more popular now, and
Yeah.
it's going to be hard. So if
I,
housing doesn't move,
I've wondered if what we're gonna have to wait and see kind of as there's a transfer of wealth from boomers as they pass, and
Mhm.
to estates to younger. That might be the only way they're going to be able to afford housing is
Well,
with
that's
a
right,
transfer of
and
wealth.
that's starting right now too.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
Something over
starting
a
to see some
trillion
of that.
dollars. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was saw an article about that. It's going to be significant.
Yeah. So.
Um,
Well,
but
Jeremy, I want to flip. We could talk housing all day. I know, but also I know you're passionate about some other things and giving back to your community and that sort of thing. You had a major life event in your family, what, 7 years ago, and
yes,
it's
yes,
really kind of changed some of your passion and share about that because I think it's important. I really think it's important for business owners to have outlets to serve in other ways because there's so much pressure day to day in the business that we have to find ways of kind of using our talents for good. So
that's right.
yeah,
Hopefully, I'm doing good in my business, but we had our son back in 2018 was diagnosed with brain cancer, medulloblastoma. We went through a couple of years of treatment and getting him to where he is today, and he's in awesome shape. He's playing soccer, he's doing great. But during that whole process, we turned a lot of love that people gave to us, um, both financially and just through goodwill, to others. We didn't feel like we needed, the extra stuff. In fact, I don't want to say we're prideful people, but like I'm a little bit headstrong, and I don't necessarily want to take a whole lot of help. My wife yells at me about that, but we do fine. Our insurance was good. We helped. We had everything we needed, but we saw a lot of people around us that didn't. When we were
right.
up there in the 7 West and at Norton Children's, so we started to make it our mission slowly but surely to help those other people. It started with like pizza days for the nurses when we were up there. We were being treated, but then these nurses are like amazing people. They
Yeah.
go into these, especially on a pediatric oncology. You've got
Wow.
20-year-old women and men, 25-year-old, young. We've got young and old. I'll get into that in a second, but they go in there every day and they may have a kid die that week. It's
Right.
awful. It's terrible. And they see really sick kids and they see a lot of parents that are going through a lot of heartache, and they've got to come at it with um, an even keel and kid gloves, but they've still got to do the medication stuff. And they've still got to do all
Yeah.
the important things to get the kids better.
Yeah.
So we started with nurses. We started seeing other families that needed help. And so we started taking the stuff that was given to us, and we would have people direct those funds to the Norton Children's Hospital Foundation. It's an amazing organization. But what the foundation allows is they allowed a donor advised fund. So when they donate, people donate that money, they think they're donating it to us.
Mm.
But it really just went into a fund at the hospital foundation. Um, and over time, we allotted, through some other bourbon things, charity raffles and stuff like that we did. We raised over $130,000 for the foundation in about a year. And we turned that into expanded telemetry for the unit, which means, as kids are going through bone marrow transplant or other kinds of heavy chemo, they've got to have, monitoring done that the
Right.
unit didn't have, central telemetry. So we paid for that. We put in a laundry washroom because when you're up there and you're going through bone marrow transplant, you've got to wash your sheets every day and wash your clothes every day. We're having to go off unit to do that. They had one in the hospital, but it wasn't specifically for 7 West. So we installed that. We've done some other things. We do smoothie days for the kids once a month. We do, which, when you're on chemo, you get mucositis. So like your whole digestive tract is very raw and
Right.
kids don't want to eat. So it's kind of a double whammy. You get nutrition in them and
Yeah.
it's cold and soothing. So it kind of,
Yeah.
these smoothies kind of help both get them healthy, but also cool their symptoms a little bit. So,
Yeah.
um, we've just got several programs up there that we run now through that. And part of that whole venture was creating our own nonprofit in 2019 for our friends we started seeing through social media. We become friendly with other families that were going through this, but they weren't necessarily at Norton's. So that fund would really help them. So we created our own 501c3, Super Drew's Crew, to help those families outside of the hospital. They might be going to Cincinnati, they might be going to St. Jude's, they might be going to Memphis. Those families need help too. So
Yeah.
we help them through both direct assistance for money to get to the clinic, gas cards. You typically will have one parent will end up quitting a job, so you've
Right.
got a loss of half the income for that household. If there was only one parent to begin with,
Yeah.
which we see a lot, single parent families, they have a high end, cancer is it's more than half of the cancer diagnoses. So
Yeah.
you've got somebody that's not working at all. And it's so hard to get assistance from the state, and it takes a long time to get on some of these programs that allow for reimbursement for medical expenses and stuff like that. So we are a direct fund to them. We have an application process online. They go on there, they ask for assistance. We need a referral from a doctor and a social worker. We review their stuff, and then we help them with mortgage payments, bill payments. In the unfortunate case that a child loses a life, we help with bereavement costs,
Yeah.
um, final trips like wishes to Disney, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um, it's really rewarding. It is another job that I don't get paid for. I get paid in good feels, I like to
Oh
think.
yeah. And that was kind of
Um,
my point about being able to you get so much pressure on you in the day to day fighting the fires and dealing with the subs and the clients and the bank and everyone else.
yeah,
Just being able to do something good is just such a great relief, I
it
think, for us.
is. It is. But there's, be careful because it's not all good. It
Oh,
is.
yeah,
It is a just as hard, and there's just as much pressure. Like I said, I've got, a list of 20 people that I got to call today and sell table sponsorships,
yeah,
right? And so if I don't get this done in the next couple of days, I don't have an event. So,
yeah,
I'm also in the mind that there is a little bit of pressure, but when it's done, like the reward, both from the families, and that we've, successfully had another event, for these fundraisers, but just for the families, you're doing it for something good.
yeah,
It's and there's a reward from my construction side too. I do like that.
yeah,
But they're similar, but you're right. It is good to step away from one um, side of your brain doing the building stuff and then do the volunteer side. It also just comes down to time too,
oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
just
We can't.
figuring out how to split that.
You can't construct more time. You may be good at construction, but there's
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
we're,
It
we
can't.
we have a set amount of that no matter what. Well, I think it's awesome and appreciate you doing that. That is Super Drew's crew. Is that
Super Drew's Crew.
yeah? So I mean I know of a couple of families dealing with pediatric cancer, and and everybody that's listening to this knows somebody dealing with it. So thank you for providing services for folks like
Of
that.
course, of course. Yeah, no, it's the pleasure again is ours to do. Wish nobody would have to deal with it. It'd be awesome if
Yeah.
we didn't, you know,
Yeah,
have to deal with it at
the
all.
pediatric oncology statistics are really sad. Yeah, they're
Especially in Kentucky, we're really, really defined hotspots, central Kentucky, northern Kentucky, especially brain tumors. We're number one in hepatic cancers. So there's something going on regionally. And Dr. Durbin with the state health department, the Department of Health, he's running an analysis. He's trying to do it nationwide. Geographically, we have this really high concentration. We're not sure if it's right on with limestone, or if is it the coal industry, or is it the distillery industry,
huh,
or does it come back to what they call germline? Is it just the genetics in this region of people intermarrying there? But we do have so much in and out. It's hard to know what it comes from.
right. That's fascinating.
It is. It's really interesting. But maybe in 10, 20 years, we're going to figure it out. But the more we see about these cancers, so much of it is just a genetic based mutation. And what they've done in the past, even since Drew's diagnosis in 19, what they've done, his cancer, there was 4 subtypes. Now there's over 20, because what they're doing is they're not taking it through what they call through a lens on a microscope and looking at the cells. They're genetically testing every one of these. So they're realizing it's this gene versus that gene versus this gene, and they're able to like isolate these things and create therapies that are specific to each one. And
Wow.
it's the genetic side of this has blown everything up, and it's
Yeah.
fascinating. And maybe in 10, 15 years we have a cure for a lot of it, but
Yeah.
we've
I
also
think that's one of the upsides of AI. I think AI, the ability to analyze all the statistics way beyond what humans can do, I think is,
absolutely. There was some article I just read about Trump touting that they're going to start using AI for pediatric cancers all over the headlines this morning. AI is awesome. However, garbage in, garbage out.
yeah, absolutely.
So you've got to be careful about what AI is looking at, the data
Right.
set that's going in there, and if data is flawed, or but it's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, it's great. Those are the two. That's the dichotomy of Jeremy. He likes to
Yeah.
build houses and
But let me wrap up with a question I ask, a variation at least of this question. Just looking back, if you were meeting a young Jeremy out there who was thinking of starting a business, what advice would you give him?
ooh, I would say go work for the best person you can find in that industry, even if it's for free, just to get. And nobody wants to do it for free, especially at 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
It is to get the wisdom of somebody that's already done it and been through it. I was very lucky. I had a father that,
Yeah.
I was in the industry. To
Right.
build a business from scratch, golly, so hard. I jump into it and capital is running.
Yeah.
You've already got a churn. It's already working. You've got processes. You've got to control.
Right.
You've got stuff that's going on. I'm not saying you have to do it the way that the person you learn from does it, but it gives you a good sense of what you're going to be stepping into.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say find the best person that you can find, and somebody with a teaching heart. It's
Yeah.
hard. Those two don't always happen
Yeah.
with the
Right.
same person. But somebody with a teaching heart, and just suck everything up. You're in your 20s, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Like you can work the amount of energy you've got,
Yeah.
at that age and passion, you can. And we had a nephew that worked with us for a little while, and this kid just soaked up everything. He just wanted to know more and more and more than we could teach him. I'm like, dude, you just got to go through it every day, and you can't speed up time.
Yeah.
Like there's so much of it is just like the day to day grind and learning those little lessons. I can't tell you what those lessons are. Like it's so infinitive,
Yeah.
just going through the reps. and just
Right.
doing it every day is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
uh,
that's actually great advice. And I think we're on episode 80 some odd, and I've asked that question almost every time. And I think that's the first time that suggestion has come up. So I,
well, good,
yeah.
good. What's the most popular suggestion?
Oh, it
You hear a
usually
lot.
goes around, follow, what your passion is, find something you're really passionate about and pour into that, which is sometimes bad advice, to be honest. I mean,
If you can't make any money at it,
exactly. I always say it's one part passion, but it's also there's got to be a demand. And
that's
you know,
right. That's
if
right.
you're passionate, I've met with some people who wanted to start a business, and I would go like, "What's your business plan? What? How many people are out there are going to buy that product?" And yeah, there's sometimes some things you might be passionate about, but there's just not enough out there.
That's right. It's like Jay Shetty talks about your dharma, right? You like
Yeah,
you want to find this intersection of where your love and your passion for something meets a real world need, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
what you can give back to the world. And you might love baking cakes, but you're an accountant at, whatever major
yeah,
big three. But maybe you start a baking club, or you start working a micro slice of that and you only work for bakeries. Like
yeah,
if there's a way that you can turn that passion, you can have a passion, but just make it real world relevant. And I'm a big believer in that passion thing too, and doing what you love, because it does over
yeah,
time should relate to the income. The hard
yeah.
part is the early side of it, right?
Right.
Like a compound interest curve. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be right here, but they all want to be right there. So
Exactly. Yeah. And it takes
you got to get
take,
through that first part. Um, but no, you're right. I mean, passion is good, but if you're passionate about underwater basket weaving,
yeah.
you better
Yeah.
find
That's what I always say is passion will take you far most of the time. Uh, it's just got to be the right fit, right. You got to
at
have
the
the
right
skills,
time. Yeah, it's
timing, a lot of
very
things.
niche. It's very niche. I mean, you can find niche stuff is great because you'll find the people that will pay crazy money because you're the only one doing it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're the only one doing it well. But if you're passionate about something that a bazillion other people are passionate about, and you're trying to,
Yeah.
the car industry, for example, it's impossible. Elon talks about like starting a new car manufacturing business. Like so many fail
Yeah.
because it's such a saturated. Well, that and they also make more money on the service stuff than they do actually selling the cars. But that's a whole other.
Yeah. That's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other topic. But no, I appreciate the
Yeah.
talk today, and
I
thank you.
appreciate you, Jeremy. I appreciate both the success you have in the business side as well as the nonprofit. Wish you continued success there. And if folks either need to build a custom home in Eastern Jefferson, Oldham County, or
Yeah,
want to help on the nonprofit side, they know somebody they can contact now. So
that's great. That's great, John. I really
yeah,
appreciate the talk.
I appreciate you as well, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, please share or like it on whatever platform you use. You can find me on social media. On most platforms, I'm John K. Jennings. My first book is also available. Your Baby is Ugly tells you about 10 truths that business owners need to hear, but often won't, and how to overcome them. You can find it on Amazon. Just search for Your Baby is Ugly. And be watching for our next episode where I'll interview another business owner who will share their stories and insights into what it's like to create a great business.